Welcome, everyone, to the next Rev Tony Says Deep Dive. I'm so excited you're here to explore Lesson 4 with us. We're pulling from Rev Tony's incredible 40-plus years of daily study. And yeah, you heard that right. We're creating a deep dive for each and every single lesson in the workbook for A Course in Miracles. All right, let's jump right in. So to get us started, let's just hold this thought for a moment. My thoughts are clouds, the truth is the sky. Think of this as our anchor for today, as we navigate the sometimes turbulent weather inside our own minds. Now, what really makes this series so unique is the perspective. See, Rev Tony doesn't just see this as philosophy. He frames his entire journey as a scientific inquiry. He had this realization that transformation isn't just a spiritual idea, it's physics. In fact, this whole series is part of the data gathering for his doctoral thesis in metaphysical science. So let's get practical. How do we actually do Lesson 4? Because the beauty of the course is that it's not just a bunch of lofty theories. It gives us very specific, very real tools we can use in our lives, starting right now. Okay, here it is. This is our central idea for today. This simple sentence is the key we're going to use to unlock a whole new way of relating to our own minds. And notice that second part. They are like the things I see in this room. See how that just grounds this big abstract idea? It makes it tangible, something we can really work with. And the instructions? They're wonderfully simple. For about a minute, you just watch what flutes across your mind. As a thought comes up, any thought at all, you just gently apply the idea to it. This thought about whatever does not mean anything. And then there's the crucial third step. You suspend all judgment. You don't sort them, you don't analyze them, you just observe. And this brings us to a really key point from Rev Tony, because this is where a lot of people get tripped up. This exercise is so often misunderstood. We are not trying to empty our minds or stop our thoughts. Trying to do that is just a recipe for frustration, right? The whole goal here is to simply step back and become a neutral, kind of curious observer of the mind's constant stream of activity. Now, this is where the lesson starts to get really, really profound. This idea of not judging our thoughts as good or bad, that's a major step. But why? Why would the Course ask us to treat our cherished, positive thoughts the same exact way as our negative ones? This is where the practice gets super interesting and maybe, a little challenging. A thought about a loved one, a happy memory, some inspiring idea. The lesson says this, too, does not mean anything. Why? What could possibly be the purpose of that? It feels a little counterintuitive. This slide just illustrates the Course's logic so brilliantly. It's not saying that good thoughts and bad thoughts are identical. Think of it like this. Bad thoughts are like brick walls. They completely block our spiritual sight. You can't see a thing. But good thoughts, they're like shadows. They hint that there's a light source nearby, but they still obscure the light itself. And ultimately, you don't want the shadow, you want the source of the light. And here it is, the core reason, directly from the text. The thoughts we typically identify with, this whole messy mix of good, bad, and neutral, they're just surface noise. They're a veil that's covering up our real thoughts, the thoughts we share with God, with truth itself. And this practice, it's the very first step in learning how to part that veil. So this brings up a huge question, doesn't it? Are we just engaging in a nice mental exercise here, or are we actually learning the fundamental physics of consciousness? As Rev Tony always points out, this isn't just philosophy. It's a practical description of how reality actually works, which pivots us right into the science that supports all these ideas. Okay, now we get to the real core of Rev Tony's thesis. Let's explore how this lesson isn't some woo-woo concept, but actually aligns with real scientific inquiry into the nature of mind and, reality itself. This quote really frames our entire inquiry. This is from Tina Louise Spalding's work, and here we have Jesus referring to his own journey, not just as one of faith, but as a dedicated student of the science of mind. Think about that. That reframes spiritual mastery as a legitimate scientific discipline. And what's wild is that modern science is really starting to catch up to this way of thinking. You have Dr. Robert Lanza, whose theory of biocentrism basically says that consciousness isn't a byproduct of the universe. It's fundamental to it, that matter actually arises from consciousness. Well, that aligns perfectly with the Course's teaching. And then you have Dr. Sean Higgins, whose work suggests the human body is this sophisticated instrument, basically a communication device, designed to receive and transmit higher frequencies of information or truth. So Rev Tony's insight here is just so powerful. When we practice Lesson 4, we're doing so much more than just calming our minds. We are literally acting as physicists. We are learning how to tune our instrument, our body-mind system, to distinguish between all that meaningless static and the meaningful signal. We're actually calibrating our perception. So that brings us to the ultimate purpose of this whole exercise. I mean, what's the end goal? Why are we learning to see our everyday thoughts as meaningless? The course is crystal clear about this. This is a foundational training exercise. The entire long-range purpose is to train you, to train us, in separating what is truly meaningless, which is all the stuff outside you, from what is meaningful, which is always within. You know, think of your mind like a radio. Most of the time, it's just filled with static. Just random, meaningless noise. Lesson 4 is the very first lesson in learning how to gently ignore that static, not by fighting it, but by just realizing it doesn't mean anything. And that allows you to start hearing the clear, constant signal of truth that is always being broadcast from within. All right, as we start to bring this deep dive to a close, let's just summarize the core message here and invite you to continue on this absolutely incredible journey. Let's circle all the way back to where we begin. My thoughts are clouds, the truth is the sky. The clouds of thought, they just come and go. Sometimes they're dark and stormy, sometimes they're light and fluffy, but they are never the sky. The sky, your true nature, is always vast, always clear, and completely untouched right behind them. This lesson teaches you how to identify with the sky, not with the clouds. So, we really want to invite you to continue your deep dive and join us for Lesson 5 in the Rev Tony Says series. There is a whole universe to explore, and we'd love for you to be there. And to go even deeper, make sure you keep your radio dials tuned to thecourse.ai. It's our AI-enhanced platform, and it's just filled with more deep dives, trainings, webinars, and live Zoom gatherings with Rev Tony. We would absolutely love for you to join our dynamic course community there. And we'll leave you with this really powerful final thought from Rev Tony. He reminds us, there will always be more deep dives because the truth is one, but the ways to express the one are infinite. You should know you are one of the specifically unique expressions. Thank you so much for joining us.